Oh right, the thing in the dirt. So a while ago, the department my brother-in-law is in reached out to me with a deal. I help them with a program that helps keep the paranormal beings who can blend into society without issue in check. They send me a check. The good news is, anything with a human base isn't as difficult to knock out or kill. The problem is, there's a fuck ton of beings that can blend well, and then there are beings that start human and become something else. So now that I've given you a reason to be nicer to strangers, let's return to the topic. I'd gotten a black envelope that reported several instances of women losing their pregnancies almost overnight, and sightings of a strange humanoid in the area. This was going to be a rough one. As I packed, Simon followed and watched me. To his credit, he stayed out of my way, but I could tell he wanted something. "What's up? You've been following me like a lost puppy," I said as I filled a small bag with blessed salt. Can I come with you?" he asked, looking like a kid asking to sleep at a friend's house. "Why do you want to come with me? It'd be best to stay here." Immediately after I said that, Bella and Noah started playing fetch with the Cerberus. "I got it. You don't want to be the only human around." "I could see why that's intimidating," Sam said as he rose out of my shadow. "Any updates?" "The landlord is doing some yard work and maintenance. Aside from that, nothing. The guy's a real workhorse." "If you're going to tag along, then help me pack. Also, can you shoot?" I asked, grabbing my favorite lever action at my 1911. After some target practice that went smoother than expected, we finished packing up. "So we're not taking the doors?" Simon asked as we finished loading the car. Jobs like this require a bit of a low profile. Suddenly spawning into existence isn't a low profile. Plus, we have a wide area to check. Tim also doesn't like people constantly going in and out. It was a nice drive. But that's when the questions started. How did you get into the whole paranormal thing? My father was a part of a military unit that handled special targets. Sometimes they were human, sometimes they weren't. He did well enough to be a contractor working alongside the man that trained him. I was a teenager when I first encountered a dog man. Fortunately, it was just a dog man. Unfortunately, I was just a teenager. The thing that saved my ass was my grandfather's M12 that my brother kept leaving in the barn. "If I listened to you, D wouldn't be here," were his exact words, before my mom slapped him upside the head. "Oh, so what's your brother like?" "We'll talk about it later," I said as I turned the radio up. My first stop at this tiny town was a little gas station. The clerk seemed out of it when we walked in. "Let's see, what you guys got here? Seafood cup noodles. Is that curry flavor too?" Simon simply nodded before walking over to the small table by the window. "Hey, you alright, man?" The clerk jumped when he realized I was standing in front of him. I recognized a familiar, miserable look. Sorry. I'm dealing with some stuff and it's bad." He responded with tears in his eyes. I couldn't help but let him vent. "Look, everything is going to be okay. I have been exactly where you are right now, and honestly, you're doing better than I did." I left the guy a note and a very heavy envelope. "Well, that was kind of you." Simon broke the silence that had taken over the car again. "Yeah, poor guy has been through enough. I thought he deserved something good. Look, I'm gonna drop you off at the hotel and check out the rest of the area. Honestly, I just didn't want him to hear some of the phone calls I had to make." "Thanks, Gunny." Finishing one of the calls and proceed to the next one. Hello? Eris's voice crept out of the phone, making my skin crawl. Listen, bring Steven in alive. There may be something or someone controlling him. Good to know. I'm glad you decided to work with us. I hung up before she could finish that sentence and immediately called someone else. She sounded tired. I mean, it was late after all. Hello? Hey, did I wake you? Yeah, it's pretty late. You okay? Yeah, just... Sorry, I'll let you sleep. No, talk to me. I did not get much sleep that night. Simon seemed pretty jittery as we approached the apartment building the next day. Relax. The last thing these people need is a nervous stranger making them feel worse than they already do. I had to catch the young woman who opened the door. She nearly collapsed. I'm sorry. I'm more exhausted than I thought, she said as I helped her to the recliner in the living room. It's no problem at all, ma'am. Oh, right, where are my manners? I'm Agent Anderson, and this is my partner. We're here to ask you some questions about your recent hospital visit. She seemed to shrink at that. Reliving her trauma was something I hated putting her through. It's alright, ma'am. We just need to know if there was anything strange that may have happened leading up to it. She took some time to collect herself before responding. There was an old woman at the grocery store? Yeah, I know older people are a bit more cheery seeing a pregnant woman, but this lady seemed almost... I don't know. It felt like she was staring at my stomach the way a starving man stares at a cheeseburger. I just wrote it off as an old lady being weird. Sorry, I can't think of anything else. That's more than enough. Sometimes a strange behavior may be an underlying sign of something more. Thank you for your time, ma'am, I said as I stood up. I don't think she meant for us to hear that, but it stopped me in my tracks. I looked around the small apartment's kitchen. The cabinets and fridge were empty. Have you eaten today? I didn't even give her a chance to respond before I'd already sent Simon to the grocery store. Thank you so much, she said, nearly in tears as we unloaded the full car. Don't worry about it. Focus on resting and feeling better. Ma'am, I had to catch myself before saying the wrong name. There's nothing wrong with you. Unfortunately, these things happen. If there's anything that we can do to prevent it from happening again, we will. You okay? Simon asked, pulling me from wherever my mind had run off to. Yeah. I can drop you off at the hotel and handle the rest of today myself. No, I'd rather keep going. The yelling coming from the small home could be heard well before we approached. A panicked old woman ran out of the house yelling in a language I couldn't place. Simon, however, was quick to jump in. You understand any of this? It's Tagalog? She was trying to bless the house, but her son just isn't having it. As he finished explaining, a man came charging out of the house. I took initiative and got between him and the old lady. Who the hell are you? There was venom in those words. Just looking at him, I could tell he was tired and frustrated, and he was itching for a reason. Agent Anderson, mind telling me what's going on? He looked me over before explaining. My wife just came home from the hospital a few days ago. My mother here has been going on and on about some evil spirit. No matter what we say, she insists on loud blessings. We've tried reasoning with her, but she just doesn't listen. We've just lost our child, and we're exhausted. what monster would cause this? Please don't tell me that you... Please don't tell me you believe that, the man said with a look of disbelief. Look, monsters and spirits aren't real. Sometimes stories like this help us process traumatic situations. The comforting bullshit I was spewing was necessary. If you don't know the chaos that would cause if the paranormal were real, you don't know people, and you've clearly never been on the internet. So when'd you learn Tagalog? It seemed like it was my turn to ask Simon something, and he seemed embarrassed before answering. I had a crush on a Filipino girl in high school, and I thought it'd be sweet to ask her out in her native language. She didn't like you. She didn't date men. She let me down easy, and we're still friends, but it was still embarrassing. Yeah, that's pretty rough, I responded, and then decided to keep my mouth shut about my own romantic situation. Wait, why are we at a funeral home? Simon asked as we came to our last location of the day. Unfortunately, our last victim didn't make it. I'm meeting with the coroner. You can sit it out if you want, I responded as we parked. Not many people like examining dead bodies, myself included. Agent Anderson, I'm Victor. We spoke on the phone. The coroner shook my hand as we made our way into the morgue. Simon decided it was best for him to stay outside the room with all the dead bodies. She died from blood loss. Poor thing didn't stand a chance. I inspected the young woman's body, doing my best to be careful and respectful. She's got bruises on her legs as if someone was grabbing them hard. Whoever it was had large hands and thin fingers. One of her nails looks like it was nearly ripped off too. Did the hospital have to restrain her or something? According to the report, she was frantically flailing around, screaming about a monster. I can only imagine what she went through. I noticed Victor looking a little too longingly at the body. Did you know her? I asked as I checked her face and neck. Her lips were warm for someone who'd been dead for days. Not personally. I mean, I'd see her around town, same coffee shop, or at the grocery store. You get it. Victor looked at this poor woman the same way I looked at my wife. Something was not right, and I hoped I was wrong. That's strange. Parts of her body are warm. Has anyone else been here? Victor's eyes went wide for a second before he answered. But I didn't even bother paying attention. Why are you so nervous? It's just you, me, and the bodies here. The slimy grin this man gave me made me want to puke. What he said next nearly finished the job. Come on, look at her. You're telling me you could resist? Not like I did anything to a living person. I grabbed his throat as he finished that sentence. The next thing I knew, Simon was stopping me from performing a live cremation. However, he didn't stop me from locking the piece of shit in the furnace, with a nice note for whoever finds him. Are you kidding me? I yelled into the phone. I'm serious. You can't keep pulling this shit. You can deal with the creeps on your own time, but right now you're on my time. The woman on the other end stated. We've butted heads so many times now, it's almost second nature. You know, we're fighting the next time I see you. I don't care what my in-law says, I responded. I can't wait. I'll make Tyler sell tickets. She hung up, leaving Simon shocked and speechless. How often do you work for this agency? He asked. Enough to be tired of this shit. It's not just this agency. There's so many groups and organizations. Sometimes you know someone who has a connection, other times you got an uncle who likes to mess with the runs of his nephews, and sometimes they find you. Trust me, a lot of them have no idea what they're doing. When we're done here, I'm going to place a call to the cops. So, what do you think we're dealing with? Simon asked as I looked over what we had so far. If I'm right, it's something that doesn't come out during the day. We're gonna need to load up on caffeine because we're hunting a manananggal. Simon seemed off. I just chalked it up to him not being used to a sudden change in sleep schedule, and also being a little unnerved at being in the woods at night. I tossed him an energy drink as I searched for my own. His eyes widened after his first sip, and he looked at the can. What the hell is ribbit? Something that the Marines are keeping in business, I said, walking right into what I thought was a tree stump and face planting in the dirt. Oh, I guess I'm not awake as I thought I was. What, is it that bad? I asked as I picked myself up. Simon silently stared at what I'd fallen over. It was a set of legs. Human legs. Well, that's disturbing. There's no blood, and outside of our footprints, only one set stops here. If I'm right, this is what we need. But we're also too late to help the next victim. Go back to the car, grab the shovel from the trunk. I doubt you want to stay here with the legs. And now, dear reader, listener, whatever you're using to catch up with my stories, you're caught up to the situation so far. A silhouette flew overhead as the legs moved in the dirt. A blood-curdling screech sounded in the distance, and I grabbed the cold metal of my knuckle dusters. Simon looked down at my rifle as we heard large, leathery wings flapping. A voice that sounded like 1,000 packs of menthols where bitch numbers spoke. I hate this part. You have my legs. I would like them back. A hag could win a beauty pageant against this thing. Raisin-like skin, sunken eyes, a long lizard-like tongue, and a missing lower half with entrails hanging stared me down as it flew around us with massive bat wings. I didn't hide my disgust as I spoke. On behalf of the Department of Paranormal Affairs, you've been extended this invitation into the Paranormal Inclusion Program. If you agree to blend into society, you will be provided with the necessary means for survival and other benefits. The bat hag got up close and hissed. I've been having my fill without your agency's help. I'll keep ripping those little morsels from their mothers. The one tonight was especially delectable. What's wrong, boy? Am I bringing up bad memories? Little snacks that didn't make it? If this is what they had waiting for them, they were lucky not to be born to you. I punched the bat bitch as hard as I could muster. Her skin audibly sizzled as my knuckle dusters made contact. A screech was cut short by an uppercut that forced her jaw shut. I ducked under a clawed hand and stepped back just enough for only my shirt to be cut on the backswing. Simon took that as his chance to shoot. The thing dropped like a sack of lead-filled bricks as black blood sprayed from the wound on its back. Good shot, but shit awareness. Handle the legs, I said as I saw her trying to crawl away. The moment her wings opened, I slammed her head into the dirt, and then proceeded to stomp on where wings met back, breaking them. The thing thrashed and screeched as I dragged it back to the log I'd been sitting on. I'll rip your heart out, and I cut her off by jamming my knife into her. The instant she opened her mouth to yell, I slammed her face into the log, causing her teeth to get stuck. I followed up by curb stomping the back of her head, breaking her teeth. She fell and rolled onto her back, swiping wildly at the air. I grabbed an arm and stomped on the elbow, breaking it. But I wasn't done yet. I wanted it to suffer. It joked about them, my kids, my boys. I don't know when I stopped. Maybe when my arm got tired, maybe when my fists started bleeding. Does it fucking matter? The mononogle under me had a caved-in face. I was right, it was still alive. Witnessing all of this, Simon kept his distance from me for a second. He dragged the lower half of our monster over. I hope you can still feel this. It writhed as I put a thick layer of salt where the two halves were supposed to meet. Just to be safe, we waited until the sun came up to ensure it was dead. It didn't take much time for us to bag up the body and start the drive home.